I remember the exact moment I died, the cold bite of the Pacific wind whipping my hair as Ethan's hands shoved me backward over the cliff's edge. His face twisted not in rage, but in cold calculation, like he was signing off on a bad investment. "It's for the best, Zoe," he'd whispered, those blue eyes I'd once drowned in now flat as the ocean below. While Lila, my best friend since college, the one who'd held my hand through every breakup before Ethan, watched from the car, her red lipstick a slash of silence against her pale cheek. A year later, I woke up gasping in my old bed, the alarm clock blinking 7:15 a.m. On a Tuesday in 2024, my body 19 pounds lighter and my heart pounding with the impossible truth. I was back. 1 year before that fatal hike in Big Sur, with every scar of betrayal etched into my soul like fresh ink. The room smelled like vanilla candles and regret, our bedroom in the cramped Brooklyn apartment we'd scraped together after law school. Back when love felt like a loophole we could exploit forever. I bolted upright, sheets tangled around my legs, and stared at the mirror across the room. There I was, Zoe Harper, 28, with the same freckles dusting my nose, the same wavy brown hair I'd cut short last summer because Ethan said it made me look approachable. But my eyes, they were different now. Sharper. Hungrier. The kind of eyes that had seen the bottom of the world and clawed their way back up. Ethan was in the kitchen, humming some indie playlist we discovered on a road trip to the Finger Lakes, flipping pancakes like nothing had ever gone wrong. "Morning, babe," he called, that easy grin splitting his face as he slid a plate onto the counter. "Big day, your deposition at 9, right? Nail it, and we'll celebrate with that rooftop bar in Williamsburg." He leaned in for a kiss, his stubble grazing my cheek, and for a split second, I almost let him. Almost forgot the way he'd forged my signature on that life insurance policy, bumping the payout to $2 million after whispering sweet nothings about starting a family. Almost erased the memory of Lila's texts I'd uncovered too late. "She's suspicious. We stick to the plan. Coast clear after the hike." But I didn't. I pulled back, forcing a smile that tasted like battery acid. "Yeah. Big day." My voice was steady, but inside, a storm was brewing, the kind that turns quiet harbors into shipwrecks. I'd spent my last life unraveling their lies in a hospital bed, tubes snaking down my throat after the accident that left me paralyzed from the waist down for 6 agonizing months before the infection took me. Doctors called it a miracle I lasted that long. Ethan called it a burden. Lila? She played the grieving friend, posting candlelit vigils on Instagram while moving into our old place the week after my tragic fall. Now, I had a second chance. Not for forgiveness. That ship had sailed over that goddamn cliff. No, this was for the truth. The buried secret they'd killed to protect. The affair wasn't just betrayal, it was a cover for something uglier. Ethan hadn't married me for love. He'd married me for leverage. My family's old money trust fund, tied up in a shell company he'd been siphoning for years, laundering through his shady real estate deals in Queens. And Lila? She'd been his silent partner, feeding him intel from my law firm, where she worked as a paralegal. They'd framed me for embezzlement 6 months before the hike, doctored emails, making it look like I'd cooked the books to cover their tracks. I'd been this close to blowing it open when they decided a hiking mishap was cleaner than a trial. I showered quickly, the hot water scalding my skin like a reminder. Feel everything this time. Don't numb out. Dressed in my power suit, charcoal gray, pencil skirt that hugged my hips, the one I'd worn to our wedding rehearsal. As I grabbed my briefcase, Ethan wrapped his arms around me from behind. Love you.
Joe.
Don't let those corporate sharks eat you alive. His breath was warm on my neck, pancakes still sweet on it. I twisted to face him, searching those eyes for a flicker of the monster I'd met at the end. Nothing.
Yet.
Love you too, I lied, pressing my lips to his just long enough to taste the deceit. Then I was out the door, heels clicking on the brownstone steps, the Brooklyn Bridge looming in the distance like a steel promise. My phone buzzed. Lila. Lunch after your depot? Miss you already. 2 hearts, I typed back. Absolutely. Can't wait. The hook was set. The deposition dragged, some murder case at a glass tower in Midtown, where the air smelled like overpriced coffee and ambition. I grilled the witness like he was Ethan, picking apart inconsistencies with a scalpel's precision. My boss, Mr. Hargrove, clapped me on the back afterward. Harper, you're a shark today. Whatever you're on, bottle it. If only he knew. The real deposition was waiting at lunch. Lila was already at the bistro in Soho, nursing a mimosa under the exposed brick walls. Her blonde bob impeccable. That bohemian chic vibe she'd cultivated since we roomed at NYU. Zoe, she jumped up, air-kissing both cheeks. Her perfume, jasmine and lies, wrapping around me like a noose. We ordered salads neither of us wanted. The kind with kale and quinoa that screamed successful millennial women pretending everything's fine. So, spill, she said, leaning in, eyes wide with feigned innocence. Ethan's been weird lately.
Distant.
You two okay? The script. I'd memorized it from the voicemails she'd left after my accident, practicing her concerned tone like an Oscar reel. I forked a cherry tomato, watching the juice bleed red. Actually.
Yeah. About that.
I paused, letting the silence stretch like taffy. Her fork hovered. I found something last night. In his email. Lie number 1. Her pupils dilated, just a fraction, but I caught it.
The tell. What? Oh God. Joe. What?
She reached for my hand, but I pulled back, casual as a breeze. Some transfers. To an offshore account. Linked to that property deal in Astoria. I watched her face cycle through shock, concern, calculation. Bullseye. And your name was on one of them. As a consultant. The color drained from her cheeks, but she recovered fast, years of sorority scheming. Me? That can't, Zoe. You know I'd never. Save it. Lila. My voice dropped. Low and lethal. The kind I'd honed in courtrooms, but never unleashed on her before. I know about the affair. The emails. The way you two laughed about taking care of the loose end over wine in our kitchen. Her eyes widened. Real fear now.
Good.
But here's the thing. I'm not pressing charges.
Not yet.
I want the truth. All of it.
Meet me tonight.
10 p.m. That overlook in Prospect Park. Alone. Or the cops get the full download. I stood, tossing cash on the table, leaving her gaping like a fish on dry dock. As I walked out into the crisp October air, my heart thundered, not with fear, but with the electric thrill of the hunt. This was just the opening salvo. The real war started at dusk. Back home, Ethan was on the couch, scrolling Zillow for dream houses we couldn't afford. Ironic, given he'd bankrupt us in my first life. How'd it go? He asked, Not looking up. Productive. I dropped my bag, straddling his lap before he could react, kissing him deep, desperate, like I was starving for the poison. His hands roamed, surprised but eager. Let's go out tonight, I murmured against his mouth. Somewhere quiet. Romantic. His grin was wolfish. My kind of productive. I smiled back, nails digging into his shoulders just enough to draw a hiss. Phase 2. Lure them both to the same ground zero. But not the cliff, not yet. That was too poetic. Too final.
No.
I'd start where it all began. The night we three first clicked. At that dive bar in the East Village. Toasting to futures brighter than neon signs. This time, I'd rewrite the ending. As the sun dipped, painting the skyline in blood-orange hues, I slipped into the bedroom and pulled out the burner phone I'd bought on my lunch break, untraceable. Loaded with the evidence I'd fabricated from memory, screenshots of their texts, bank logs I'd memorized in my dying days. It wasn't real, but it didn't have to be. Doubt was the sharpest blade. Lila arrived first to the park overlook, her heels sinking into the grass, arms crossed against the chill. The city lights twinkled below like fallen stars, the same view that had sold me on Brooklyn when Ethan proposed here 2 years ago.
Zoe.
Please, she started, voice trembling. It's not what you think. I stepped from the shadows, hands in my coat pockets, one gripping my phone like a grenade. Then enlighten me. Start with the money. How much did you two skim before deciding I was the problem? She faltered, tears welling, crocodile tears. I'd learned. It was Ethan's idea. The firm was bleeding cash. He said it was temporary. I got pulled in. But the affair? That was a mistake. A weak moment. Weak. I laughed, bitter as black coffee. You slept in my bed while I was in the hospital. Posted pics of my recovery with hashtags like strong women. You weren't weak, Lila. You were complicit. Her face crumpled. And for a heartbeat, I saw the girl from college, the one who'd split rent and secrets with me over boxed wine. But then her jaw set. You don't get it. You were always so perfect.
Zoe. Top of the class.
Trust fund princess. Ethan needed more. We needed more. You were holding him back with your ethics bullshit. The words landed like slaps.
But they fueled me.
And the embezzlement? Pinning it on me so you could run off to some beach in Mexico with my life insurance. She blinked. How? Doesn't matter. I glanced at my watch. 10:05. He's coming. And you're both going to confess. On record. I held up the phone, red light blinking. Her eyes darted to the path, where Ethan's silhouette emerged, hands in his pockets, whistling.
He froze when he saw us.
The easy smile evaporating.
Show.
Lila, what's this? Family meeting, I said, voice steady as the Brooklyn Bridge cables. Sit.
They did.
Side by side on the bench. The betrayers reunited. Ethan reached for Lila's hand. She let him. I stood over them, queen of my own execution. Tell me everything. From the beginning. Or this, I wave the phone, goes to the DA. The firm. Your parents. Hell. I'll TikTok it for the world. Ethan leaned forward, elbows on knees. That lawyer charm kicking in. Babe. Listen. Yeah. We fucked up. The money. It was a loan. Lila and I. We got scared. But we love you. Let us fix it. Love. The word tasted like ash. You pushed me off a cliff. Ethan. Watch me shatter on those rocks. Begging for help while you drove away with her. Silence. Then Lila's gasp.
You.
You're crazy. That didn't. It did. My voice cracked, but I pushed through. I remember every second. The way the water swallowed me, cold and black, while you two toasted with my wine. But here's the twist. I'm not dead. Not anymore. Ethan's face went ashen.
Zoe.
What the hell are you talking about? I stepped closer. Close enough to smell his cologne, the same one from that night. I'm talking about second chances. And revenge. I hit play on the phone. Their old voicemails filling the air. She's out cold. Coast is clear. Lila's voice. Breathy and excited. They lunged for it, but I was faster, hurling it into the bushes. Run, I whispered. But know this, I'll find you. Every lie, every dollar, every kiss. It's mine to take back. They bolted, hand in hand, vanishing into the trees like ghosts. I sank onto the bench, breath ragged, the city's hum a distant roar. The game had begun. But as I sat there, a new doubt wormed in. What if the truth was bigger? What if my death had exposed something I'd buried deeper than their betrayal, my own hand in the firm's shady dealings? A desperate bid to save our marriage that I'd confessed to no one?
No.
Focus. Tomorrow, I hit the banks. Trace the money. Turn their web against them. But deep down, in the quiet of that park, I wondered if vengeance would heal or just carve me hollower. Dawn broke over Brooklyn like a guilty conscience. Gray light filtering through the blinds as I lay beside Ethan, his snores a rhythmic denial of the night before. He'd stumbled in at 2 a.m., reeking of bourbon and excuses. Lila and I just talked.
Babe. She's worried about you.
I'd pretended to sleep, my mind racing through escape routes. Alibis. The slow burn of dismantling an empire built on my bones. By 6, I was up, coffee brewing black as my mood, laptop open to the firm's encrypted server. Time to play detective in my own life. The embezzlement trail was a rabbit hole I'd fallen into before, but now I had foreknowledge like a cheat code. Starting with Ethan's login, password unchanged. Zoe Forever 69. The irony bitter, I pulled transaction logs. There, $150,000 funneled to a Cayman account. Time-stamped the week I'd discovered the affair in my first go-round. Lila's sign-off as consultant glowed like neon gilt. But deeper, buried in metadata, was the twist that made my stomach lurch, my own digital fingerprint. Forged?
No. Real.
I'd authorized a transfer 6 months ago. A bonus to keep Ethan's failing flip house afloat, signing off in a haze of Merlot and marital bliss. I told myself it was love, bailing him out, like always. But in truth, it was complicity. I'd been the loose end because I'd started the knot. Fuck, I whispered, slamming the laptop shut as Ethan shuffled in. Hair tousled, boxers riding low. Rough night, he asked, pouring coffee, eyes scanning me like a deposition witness. Just work stress. I forced a yawn, sliding onto a stool. That depo yesterday? It got me thinking. Maybe we need a break.
A real one.
Like that cabin in the Catskills we talked about. His brow furrowed, but the hook bit. Yeah? Sounds perfect. Clear our heads. He kissed my forehead, lingering too long. Calculating. By noon, I was at the bank on Flatbush, charming the manager with tears and tales of marital strain. I just need to check our joint accounts, you know, for peace of mind. She bought it, white woman in pearls, Midwestern accent, the trifecta of trust. The statements confirmed it, withdrawals masked as home improvements, totaling $80,000. Enough to frame, not enough to bankrupt. But the final one, dated a week before the hike, $50,000 to Lila's maiden name account. Payoff for silence. I texted her from the burner. Park was just the appetizer. Meet at the old spot. 8 p.m. Come alone or the firm gets the logs. The old spot. Our NYU haunt. McSorley's. Sawdust floors and ale that tasted like nostalgia. She'd come. She always did, chasing the ghost of who we were. The afternoon blurred in meetings, cross-examining a client on antitrust violations. My mind scripting the interrogation ahead. Hargrove pulled me aside after. Harper, you're on fire. That merger? You're leading the close next week. Promotion bait. In my first life, I turned it down to support Ethan's career. This time, I'd take it and twist it into a noose. Lila slunk into McSorley's at 7:55, scanning the dim bar like a fugitive. I nursed a pale ale in the corner booth, the one scarred from 1,000 co-ed spills. She spotted me, hesitated, then approached, shedding her trench coat like a skin. Zoe, this has to stop. You're scaring me. Good. I slid a pint her way, dark. Her favorite.
Drink.
Then talk. The full confession. Why me? Why not just divorce? She sipped, eyes darting to the door. It wasn't supposed to. Escalate. Ethan was drowning in debt. Those Queen's deals? Sharks from his dad's old crew. Loan sharking legit. He needed the trust fund access. But you wouldn't budge. Ethics, you said. She mimicked my voice. Nails on chalkboard. Lila, I was your friend. I tried to talk him down, but you didn't. I leaned in, voice ablade. You enabled. Slept with him. Then helped forge my emails when the auditors came sniffing. Her laugh was hollow. You think you're innocent? That bonus you signed off? Ethan told me you knew. It was your idea to loop me in. Keep it in the family, you joked. The air sucked out of the room. My idea? No, wait. The wine haze. The night he'd cried about losing the brownstone. Me scribbling the approval while he poured another glass. I was drunk. Manipulated. Same as us. Then, her eyes hardened, the victim flipping the script. We all played the game.
Zoe.
You just lost first. Rage boiled. But I reined it. The hike.
Tell me about that.
She glanced away, fingers tracing the mug's rim. It was his plan. Accident on the trail. Insurance covers falls.
Clean.
I was supposed to drive the getaway. Wait at the lot. But when you didn't. Surface right away. I panicked. Called 911 anonymously. A tear escaped. Real this time? I didn't want you dead.
Joe. Just. Out.
Liar. I slapped the table, drawing stares from the barflies. You moved in day 3. Posted my eulogy pic with his arm around you. She flinched.
Guilt. And.
Momentum. He was broken.
Zoe.
We both were. The door swung open, Ethan. Scanning. Spotting us. He approached slow, like approaching a live wire. What the fuck is this? Sit, I commanded, voice brooking no argument.
He did.
Sandwiching Lila between us. The bar's murmur faded. It was just us. The betrayers and the betrayed. Truth time, I said, pulling out the burner. Hitting record. Both of you. The debts. The forgeries.
The push.
All of it. Or I walk this to the feds. Ethan's jaw clenched. Zoe, you're unhinged. This is harassment. Unhinged. I laughed.
Sharp.
You killed me.
Ethan.
Shoved me like trash because I wouldn't co-sign your lies anymore. His eyes flickered. Recognition? Fear? You're delusional. That hike, you slipped. I tried to save you. Bullshit. I played a fabricated clip, his voice. Synthesized from voicemails. She'll never know. Gasps from both. Bluff. But it landed. Lila cracked first. It was the money. The full trust unlocks at 30. Your 30th.
Joe.
2 mil. Enough to pay off the Russians breathing down his neck. Ethan shot her a glare. Shut up.
No.
She turned to me. Desperate. He was going to lose everything.
Us.
The life we built.
We.
The word gutted me. And you? What was your cut? Enough to start over. Away from the firm. From you, from the constant comparison. Venom now. The mask slipping. You had it all.
Zoe.
The brains. The looks. The daddy's girl glow. I got scraps. Empathy tried to creep in, Lila. Always the sidekick in our duo, but I crushed it. This was the controversy. Not just their evil, but the mirror they held up. Had I been blind? Complicit in my own cage? Ethan lunged for the phone. I yanked it back. Enough. We're done. Divorce papers tomorrow. Take the apartment. The dog, hell. Take each other.
But the money?
It stays frozen. I go to the board. He laughed.
Dark.
You think you can? With your signature on half the transfers? We'll bury you in court. Maybe. I stood. Towering. But this time, I fight dirty. They left together, again, whispers trailing like smoke. I finished my ale, the bitterness lingering. But as I stepped into the night, rain slicking the streets, a call came, Hargrove. Zoe. Emergency. That merger? Compromised. Missing funds. Your name's on it. My blood iced. Their counterpunch. The war was on, and my own sins were the first casualty.
Outside.
Thunder grumbled, mirroring the storm in my chest. I hailed a cab. Destination, the one place I'd avoided in both lives, my parents' penthouse on the Upper East Side. Time to unearth the real skeleton. Dad's clean trust wasn't so spotless. Offshore ties to Ethan's sharks? If I burned them, I'd scorch myself. Controversial choice. Ally with the devil I knew. Or go nuclear alone. The cab crawled through traffic. Wipers slashing rain like accusations. I dialed the firm. Leaving a voicemail for IT. Pull all Harper Hawthorne files.
Urgent.
Hawthorne, Ethan's middle name. Sloppy. But it was a start. Arriving at the doorman-guarded lobby. The marble floors echoed my heels like judgment. Mom answered the buzzer. Voice syrupy. Zoe. Darling, it's late. Family emergency. The elevator hummed up. 30 floors of steel and secrets. They waited in the living room. Dad in his armchair, scotch in hand, Mom fluttering with a robe and worry lines. What's wrong? Sweetie. I collapsed onto the couch. The weight crashing. Ethan stealing from the trust. Framed me at work.
And
I think he tried to kill me. The room froze. Dad's glass clinked down.
what?
Words tumbled. Edited for survival. No resurrection talk, just suspicions. Logs. The hike plan, I'd pieced from memories. Mom gasped theatrically. Dad's face darkened. The old Wall Street wolf stirring. That's my money, he growled, pacing. That boy's been sniffing around since the wedding. I warned you.
Zoe.
You did. I met his eyes. Steel on steel. But I need help. Access to the original ledgers. Prove it's him. Not me. He nodded.
Sharp. Done.
But this stays in the family. No cops yet. We handle it quiet. Quiet. The American way. Bury the dirt under NDAs and settlements. Controversial? Hell yes. But effective. By midnight, I had the files, digital ghosts of Dad's investments, tangled with Ethan's flips. Proof: Ethan's dad had introduced the sharks, a syndicate laundering through real estate. My marriage? A Trojan horse. I crashed in my old room, fairy lights still strung from high school, but sleep evaded. Visions of the cliff. The shove. Lila's smirk.
And now,
My complicity, a signature that could jail me too. Revenge wasn't clean, it was a mirror maze. Reflecting monsters back at you. Morning brought resolve. Coffee with Mom. Her prying sidelong. You deserve better.
Joe.
Someone stable. I nodded, but inside, stability felt like surrender. No, this was my story now. I'd rewrite it bloody if I had to. Back in Brooklyn by 10. Ethan gone, work. He texted.
Perfect.
I rifled his desk, hidden drawer. The one I'd missed before. Jackpot. A burner of his own. Text to L. She's cracking. Accelerate the hike. End it clean. My hands shook as I forwarded to my cloud. Evidence. But the last message, trust unlocks soon. Kids ours claim it all.
Kid?
My brain shorted. No, we tried.
Failed.
Miscarriage last year. The grief that bonded us. Or so I thought. Twist upon twist. Were they? No time. Lila's text. We need to talk. Alone. Your office. Noon. Trap or surrender? I grabbed my keys. Time to spring it. The firm buzzed. Phones ringing. Associates hustling like caffeinated ants. Hargrove cornered me in the hall. Zoe. The audit, it's bad. Board meeting tomorrow. Your ass is on the line. I'll handle it. Bluff. Inside. Panic clawed. But first, Lila. She waited in the lobby, fidgeting with her bag, eyes red-rimmed. Upstairs.
Now.
My office overlooked the Hudson, glass walls framing the gray sprawl. I locked the door, blinds half drawn. Talk. She paced, voice a whip. Ethan's losing it. Thinks you're suicidal, planning to jump or something. He's calling a wellness check. Chills. And you? Here to save me?
No.
She stopped, facing me, close enough to strike.
To warn you.
Back off.
Zoe.
Or we go public, with everything. Your signatures. The bonuses. The miscarriage? We know you faked the doctor's note to get sympathy leave. Pad the insurance.
Lies.
All of it. Except the pain. You bitch.
Pot.
Kettle. Her smile was feral. Join us. Walk away clean. Or burn. The offer hung. Temptation's whisper. Easy out. Divorce. Silence. A new city. But the fire in me roared no. Get out. She did. But not before dropping the bomb. The kid's real.
Joe.
Yours and Ethan's embryo. Frozen from before the loss. He wants it. Without you. The room spun. IVF secrets. The ones we'd buried in grief. They'd thaw it. Raise it as theirs. Over my dead body again. I sank into my chair. Head in hands. Controversial decision loomed. Expose the embryo theft. Drag family law into the mud? Or weaponize it? Blackmail for the truth? Phone buzzed. Ethan, lunch? Love you. I typed. Yes. The bridge. Our spot. Payback's bridge was metaphorical. The Brooklyn Bridge walkway. Where he'd proposed. Windswept and romantic. This time, it'd be reckoning. The Brooklyn Bridge arched like a steel spine under the midday sun. Tourists snapping selfies while I waited at the midpoint. Wind tugging my coat like impatient fingers. Ethan approached from the Manhattan side. Hands in pockets. That boyish stride masking the predator beneath. So, he called, weaving through a gaggle of Japanese teens, pulling me into a hug that felt like chains.
God.
I needed this. Last night was intense. I let him hold me, inhaling his scent, cedar and deceit, mapping the lies in his grip. Tell me about the embryo, Ethan. He stiffened. Pull back slow. What,
Babe.
where's this coming from, Lila? She sang like a bird. I met his eyes. The East River churning below like my gut. You plan to thaw it. Raise our kid with her. After offing me for the trust. His laugh was forced, echoing off the cables. You're paranoid. Stress from work. Stop. I shoved my phone at him. The forwarded texts glowing. His face drained, the mask cracking. The hike. The policy. All of it.
Why?
Pedestrians streamed past, oblivious to the implosion. He glanced around, voice low.
Okay. Fine.
You want truth? It started small, debts from Dad's mess. I borrowed from the trust, fudged the books. You found out, threatened to tell your father. His eyes hardened. I couldn't lose you. Or everything. So, you framed me? Slept with my best friend. The words sliced. But his shrug was casual apocalypse. Lila understood. No judgments. The affair. It just happened. The hike?
Panic.
You were digging too deep. Confronting us. I pushed, God.
Zoe.
I didn't mean he reached for me. I jerked back. The railing digging into my spine. Didn't mean to orphan our future child. Tears stung. Hot and traitorous. You were going to steal it. Erase me. He deflated. Shoulders slumping. I loved you. Once. But love doesn't pay the wolves at the door. A beat. Walk away. I'll wire you half. Start over. No cops. No scandal. The offer dangled. Golden handcuffs. Controversial. Take the blood money. Vanish to LA or Portland. Let karma handle the rest? Or push? Risk the cliff all over again?
No.
My voice was wind-whipped steel. You confess. To the firm, the cops. The embryo stays frozen till I say. His eyes narrowed. The lawyer surfacing. Or what? You go down to. Those signatures. My drunk ass on paper doesn't make murder. I step closer. Breath mingling. But it does make me complicit. And that's the twist. Ethan, I get it now. I enabled you. Poured the wine. Signed the checks. But that ends today. He lunged not for me, but the phone in my hand. We grappled. A tangle of limbs and grunts. Tourists gasping. Phone's out. Give it, he snarled, fingers bruising my wrist. I twisted free, slamming the device against the railing, screen spiderwebbing but intact. It's backed up. Everywhere. Sirens wailed distant. Someone's 911? He backed away, eyes wild. You're ruining us.
Zoe.
All of us. Good. I straightened, heart-hammering victory. That's the point. He fled into the crowd, swallowed by the bridge's belly. I leaned over the edge, vertigo teasing the drop, not fatal here, but a whisper of what could be. No jump.
Not me.
Not again. Cops arrived minutes later, uniforms parting the selfie swarm. Ma'am, we got a call, assault. I spun the yarn. Distraught husband, public meltdown, evidence of fraud. They nodded. Sympathetic, Me Too era perks. One cuffed me loosely for statements, another bagged my phone as Exhibit A. We'll need you downtown. Hargrove met me at the precinct, suit rumpled, face thunderous. Zoe. What the hell? Board reconvened early. Your name's Mud. Wait. I pulled him aside, whispering the logs, the frames, Dad's ledgers as collateral. It's him. All him. Give me the floor. The boardroom was a Shark Tank, suits from Boston to LA, eyes like audits. I stood at the head, projector humming, slides ticking, transfers, emails. The bridge video going viral on X already, Brooklyn Bridge Brawl, hubby versus wife. Gentlemen. Ladies, I began, voice steady as the gavel. This isn't embezzlement. It's targeted sabotage. Clicks through evidence. Gasps rippling. Ethan Hawthorne, my husband, framed me to cover his syndicate ties. Here's the proof. Murmurs peaked. Hargrove's nod was grudging approval. By close. Ethan was suspended pending arrest. Lila on leave. And me?
Cleared.
Promoted. Even. Interim lead on the merger. But victory tasted hollow. Walking out into the dusk. Phone buzzing with Mom's texts. Proud of you. Darling, I felt the weight. The embryo. Court-ordered freeze. Pending DNA farce. But whose kid was it? Really? IVF records whispered doubts. Ethan Swimmer's. Or the donor we'd hidden. Night fell as I hit the streets. Cab to Big Sur. Not for the cliff, but the motel where we'd honeymooned, salt air and second starts.
En route.
Lila called. Voice shattered. Zoe?
He's gone.
Confess to the cops, everything. The push. The money.
He's
begging for a deal. Good. Silence stretched. And you? I'm done. flying to my sister's in Seattle.
But I'm sorry.
For all of it.
Sorry.
The word hung, insufficient as fog. Prove it.
Testify.
Full truth. I will.
A sob.
Can we? Ever?
No. Click.
The motel loomed, neon flickering vacancy like a dare. I checked in. Room 7, ocean view. Waves crashing judgment. Collapsing on the bed. I scrolled news. Tech Air son busted in fraud plot. Wife's brave stand goes viral. Comments flooded. Queen shit. Betrayal goals. She's too good for him. Fame's double edge. Validation laced with vultures. But the real twist waited in my email. Dad. Found something in the ledgers. Call me. 3 a.m.
Pacific time.
His voice gravel. Zoe. The trust? It's dirtier than Ethan's mess. My old partners, senators, CEOs, your marriage was therein. They leaned on him to silence you. Ice in veins. Me? Why? You were auditing pro bono. Nonprofits sniffing our shells.
Ethan.
He was the cutout. Complicity squared. I'd married into the machine. Oiled it with love. Controversial endgame. Expose Dad to? Topple the empire. Risk my future? Dawn broke. Pink as fresh wounds. I drove to the cliff, McWay Falls Trail. The spot. Not to jump, but to stand. Wind howled. Waves gnashing below. I closed my eyes, replaying the shove, the cold swallow. But this time, I stepped back.
Alive.
Phone rang, cops. Mrs. Harper? Ethan's lawyered up. Wants a plea. Mentions. The kid. The embryo. I gripped the guardrail. What about it? He's claiming sole custody. Says you were unstable bridge incident. Rage.
Pure.
Fight it. All docs here. Hours later. Back in Brooklyn, lawyers circling like barracudas. Court date set. Fraud trial. Custody battle. Lila flipped. State's witness. Ethan? Cornered rat. Weeks blurred. Depositions where I eviscerated him. His tears fake as his vows. Media frenzy, from betrayal to badass. Zoe's revenge. I dodged talk shows. Focused on the merger close, sealed with a bonus that bought my silence on Dad's dirt. Controversial truce. Protect the family name.
For now.
Trial day. Federal courthouse. Manhattan marble mausoleum. Ethan in orange. Shackled. Eyes pleading from the dock. Zoe.
Please.
Mercy. I took the stand, voice echoing. Mercy?
You stole my life.
Twice. The jury leaned in as I unpacked it all. Affair. Fraud. The push. Gasps at the embryo reveal, his plan to inherit our future. Lila testified next. Crumbling under cross. I loved her once. But greed. It poisons. Verdict. Guilty. 20 years. No parole. Trust frozen. Repayments ordered. Embryo? Mine. By ethics board ruling, thawed or not. My call.
Outside.
Flashbulbs popped. Reporters swarmed. MS. Harper. What's next? I paused. Wind off the harbor crisp.
Justice. Then.
Living. Months later. The apartment sold. Our poison purged. I moved to a loft in Dumbo. Views of the bridge like a healed scar. Promoted to partner. Firm scrubbed clean. Dad, distant calls. His empire teetering but intact, my bargain. Lila, vanished to Seattle. A letter arriving one gray morning. Forgive yourself first.
Joe.
I can't. Burned it in the sink. Ashes swirling like old ghosts. The embryo? I donated it anonymously. A fresh start for someone else. No chains to the past. One night. Bridge walk, solo. Tur's thin. Stars pricking the sky. I leaned on the railing, whispering to the river. I came back for truth.
Got it.
Now, freedom. No twist left, just me. Zoe Harper. Reborn not in death, but defiance. The American dream. Claw your way up, burn the bridges behind. And damn, it felt good.